He'd traveled for 6 months, put 1,000 miles between himself and the crime, changed his name, changed his story, changed everything except the mark on his arm. The tattoo was simple: 3 ravens in a circle. Everyone in his old territory knew what it meant: oathbreaker, traitor, condemned. So he burned it deliberately, put his arm in the fire until the flesh bubbled and the ink disappeared beneath scar tissue. It worked. For 3 years, it worked. He built a new life, earned respect, almost forgot what he'd done. Then a traveling merchant from his old settlement arrived, looked at his arm, and recognized the shape beneath the burn. Nobody burns themselves there by accident. The merchant asked one question: what were you trying to hide? Northern Fjord Settlement, spring 897 AD. A small trading post where 3 rivers met. Good fishing, safe harbor. Far enough from major clans that nobody asked too many questions about where you came from. The kind of place men went to disappear. The man who called himself Kjell arrived on a gray morning in late autumn 3 years earlier. 25 winters old. Tall but lean. Strong enough to work but not intimidating. Quiet, polite. No family. No past he'd discuss. And burn scars covering his entire right forearm. Severe. The kind that made people look away. The settlement's jarl, a practical woman named Sigrid, interviewed him at the dock. You have skills? She asked. Carpentry, some metal work, can handle a boat. The scars? Kjell had practiced this answer for months. Kept it simple. Didn't elaborate unless pushed. Ship fire 3 years ago. Lost most of my crew. Sigrid nodded. She'd seen plenty of burn victims. The scars looked consistent. The pain in his eyes when he spoke looked real. We need workers. You'll earn your keep through the winter. If you work hard, you stay. If you cause trouble, you leave. Understood? Understood. That easily, Kjell became part of the settlement. Anonymous. Safe. Reborn. The truth was more complicated. His real name was Kjell Torvaldsson, son of a respected warrior from a settlement 400 miles east. Raised to fight. Trained to honor the clan above everything. His father, Torvald, had fought in 30 raids. Never retreated. Never showed fear. Expected his son to match that legacy. Kjell tried. He really tried. Learned weapons. Practiced formations. Listened to veterans tell stories of glorious battle. But when actual combat came, when blood spilled and men screamed and chaos consumed everything, Kjell discovered something terrible about himself. He was afraid. Not the healthy fear that kept warriors careful. The paralyzing fear that froze your muscles and emptied your mind. The kind of fear that made you worthless in battle. It happened during his first real raid. A coastal monastery. Easy target. Barely defended. Should have been simple. But when the monks fought back, desperate, untrained, but fighting nonetheless, something in Kjell broke. He froze. Dropped his weapon. Couldn't move while his clan brothers fought around him. One of them, a young warrior named Eric, was killed while Kjell stood paralyzed. Took a spear meant for the easy flank where Kjell should have been fighting. The clan survived. Won the raid. Took the silver. But Eric died because Kjell failed. The clan council convened 3 days later. Kjell stood before them, accused not just of cowardice, but of oath-breaking. He'd sworn to stand with his brothers, to fight, to be worthy of the clan's trust. He'd failed that oath in the worst possible way, during battle when it mattered most. His father spoke at the council, voice hard, ashamed. My son is Níðingr, oathbreaker. He should be marked and exiled. The council agreed, unanimous. They held him down, used ink made from ash and animal fat. A traveling craftsman, skilled at marking criminals, did the work. 3 ravens in a circle on his right forearm, where everyone could see the G. Ravens represented the 3 aspects of his crime: cowardice, oath-breaking, and causing a brother's death through failure. The mark was permanent, indelible, a sentence that followed you forever. Marked as Níðingr, Kjell had 2 choices: stay and live as an outcast, beneath even thralls in status, or leave and hope distance would hide his shame. He chose distance, but distance wasn't enough. The mark remained, visible, damning. So 3 weeks into his exile, starving and desperate, Kjell did something he'd later question every day. He found a settlement, traded his last valuable possession, a silver arm ring, for strong alcohol. Then he built a fire, got drunk, and put his arm in the flames. The pain was beyond anything he'd imagined. He passed out twice, woke screaming, passed out again. When he finally stopped, his forearm was destroyed. destroyed. Flesh bubbled and blackened, the tattoo completely obscured by burn damage. He nearly died from infection, spent 2 weeks in fever dreams, survived more from luck than treatment. But when the burns finally healed, months later, the tattoo was gone, replaced by scar tissue so severe that the original marks were invisible, unless you knew where to look, unless you touched the scars and felt the raised patterns beneath. For 3 years in the new settlement, Kjell lived carefully. He worked hard, never complained, never drew attention, built a reputation as reliable but unremarkable. The settlement needed workers more than heroes. Kjell fit perfectly, fixed boats, repaired buildings, did honest work for honest pay. People noticed the scars, some asked. Kjell gave his practiced answer. Ship fire, lost crew, moved on. Nobody pushed further. Burns like that told their own story of suffering. He made a few friends, not close ones. He kept emotional distance carefully, but people who'd share ale and conversation. One was Bjorn, a veteran warrior in his 40s, respected, fair, led the settlement's small defensive force. Another was Astrid, a widow who ran the trading post, sharp, observant, kind. And there was Ingrid, 17, the Jarl's niece, smart, curious. She asked more questions than Kjell liked, but her interest seemed genuine, not suspicious, just the natural curiosity of someone young trying to understand the world. By his 3rd winter, Kjell had almost relaxed, almost believed he could leave his past behind, almost felt like the man he pretended to be. Then the merchant arrived. His name was Arna, traveling trader, moved between settlements, buying and selling goods, been on the road for 20 years, knew people, knew stories, knew how to read men. He arrived on a cold morning in early spring, brought news from the eastern settlements, traded goods, shared gossip. Kjell saw him at a distance, recognized the style of dress, Eastern, from the territories near Kjell's original clan. Fear spiked. He stayed away from the trading post, avoided the merchant, hoped the man would leave quickly. But Arn stayed for 3 days. Weather delayed his departure. He had time to talk, to observe, to notice things. On the 3rd day, Kjell was working on a boat repair near the docks when Arn approached. "You're the carpenter," the merchant said. Friendly tone, no threat apparent. "Yes, good work. Solid repairs. Thank you." Arn watched him work for a moment, then casually, "Those are severe burns." Kjell kept working, didn't look up. "Ship fire, years ago. Must have been terrible." It was. Strange place for fire damage, though. Usually ship fires burn hands and face. You lean away from flame, protect your core, but your forearm, Arn gestured. That's where the damage is worst, like you held your arm in the fire, deliberately. Kjell's hands stopped moving. "It was chaotic. Don't remember details." "Of course." Arn's voice remained casual, but his eyes had changed. Sharp now, calculating. "May I see it closer? I knew a healer once who worked with burn victims. I'm curious about the scarring pattern." "I'd rather not. Just briefly. Professional curiosity." Before Kjell could refuse, Arn reached out and touched the scars. Not aggressive, just a quick examination, but his fingers pressed slightly, feeling the tissue beneath, tracing patterns. His expression shifted. Recognition. He pulled his hand back, looked at Kjell directly. "What were you trying to hide?" Kjell's throat went dry. "I don't know what you mean. There's a pattern beneath the scars. Raised tissue in a specific shape. Nobody burns themselves accidentally in perfect geometric patterns. You destroyed something that was there, something you didn't want people to see. You're mistaken." "Am I?" Arn's voice was quiet, not threatening, almost sympathetic. "I've traveled the Eastern Territories for years. I know the marks they use, the criminal tattoos, the shame marks, and I know that sometimes desperate men try to remove them, usually by burning." Kjell said nothing, couldn't speak. Every practiced lie had evaporated from his mind. Arnie continued. 3 ravens in a circle. That's the Oathbreaker mark, isn't it? Níðingr. The word hung in the air between them. The word Kjell hadn't heard in 3 years. The word that defined what he'd been, what he still was, beneath the scars and the false name and the false life. "I haven't done anything wrong here," Kjell said quietly. "I work hard. I cause no trouble. I've earned my place. By lying to everyone who trusts you, by trying to be better than I was." Arnie studied him. "What did you do to earn the mark?" Kjell wanted to lie, to deflect, to run, but what was the point? The truth was already exposed. "I failed in battle. My cowardice got a brother killed. The clan marked me and exiled me. I burned the mark to escape the shame. That's the truth. And now you've built a life on hiding that truth." "Yes. The Jarl here, Sigrid, she trusts you. Bjorn trusts you. They think you're an honest worker who survived. Tragedy. If they knew you were Níðingr, I know, they'd exile me, or worse." Arnie was quiet for a long moment. Kjell waited for judgment, for condemnation, for the merchant to expose him to the settlement. Instead, Arnie asked, "Are you the same man who earned that mark?" The question caught Kjell off guard. "What? 3 years ago, you were a coward who broke an oath. Are you still that man? Kjell thought carefully. I don't know. I haven't been tested, haven't faced the situation that broke me before, but I've tried to live honorably, to work honestly, to be worthy of the second chance I stole. Stole? I didn't earn forgiveness, didn't make amends, just ran and hid. That's not redemption. That's just cowardice in a different form. Arnie nodded slowly. At least you understand that. He turned to leave. Kjell stopped him. Are you going to tell them? Arnie paused. Should I? Honestly, I don't know. Part of me thinks I deserve exposure, deserve punishment, but another part thinks I've built something real here, something good, that destroying it serves no purpose except satisfying justice. Justice is important. So is redemption, if it's real. Arnie looked at Kjell's arm, at the scars hiding the ravens, at the permanent evidence of shame hidden beneath pain. I'll think about it, he said finally. I'm leaving tomorrow. Before I go, I'll decide whether this settlement deserves to know who you really are. He walked away, left Kjell standing at the dock, terrified, helpless, waiting for judgment from a stranger who held his entire life in his hands. That night, Kjell couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't think of anything except Arnie's decision. Part of him wanted to run, pack his things, leave before morning, start over somewhere else, again. But he was exhausted by running, exhausted by lying, exhausted by the constant fear of discovery. Maybe exposure would be a relief. Maybe punishment was what he deserved. Maybe carrying the secret was worse than facing the consequences. He sat in his small room, looked at the scars on his arm, touched them, felt the ravens beneath. 3 years of hiding, 3 years of pretending, 3 years of building a life on a foundation of lies. Was any of it real? Did his honest work matter if it was done under false pretenses? Could redemption, built on deception, ever be genuine? He didn't have answers. Near midnight, there was a knock on his door. Kjell opened it, found Ingrid standing there, the Jarl's niece, looking nervous. Can I talk to you? She asked quietly. It's late. I know, but I saw you earlier after the merchant talked to you. You looked broken. I wanted to make sure you're all right. Kjell almost laughed. All right? What did that even mean? I'm fine. You're lying. You've been lying since you got here. Kjell's stomach dropped. What? I'm not stupid, Kjell, or whatever your real name is. I've watched you for 3 years. The way you avoid questions about your past. The way you never talk about family. The way you flinch when people mention honor and duty. You're running from something. Ingrid, I don't care what it is. I don't care what you did. You've been good to this settlement. You've been good to me. That's what matters. You don't understand what you're saying. Then help me understand. Tell me the truth. Whatever the merchant discovered, I deserve to hear it from you. Kjell looked at this young woman, barely more than a girl, offering trust he didn't deserve, offering forgiveness he hadn't earned. He could lie, tell her the merchant was mistaken, send her away, keep hiding, or he could finally stop running. My real name is Kjell Torvaldsson, he said quietly. 3 years ago, I was marked as Níðingr, Oathbreaker. I failed in battle, got a brother killed through cowardice. My clan tattooed me and exiled me. I burned the mark off my arm and came here to hide. Everything you know about me is a lie built on shame. Ingrid listened, didn't interrupt. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Then, are you still a coward? I don't know. I haven't been tested. You just told me the truth when lying would have been easier. That took courage. That's not the same as standing in battle. No, but it's something. It's more than nothing. She reached out, took his scarred arm, touched the raised tissue, felt the ravens he'd tried to destroy. The mark is still there, she said. You can't really erase it, just hide it. I know. So stop hiding. Face what you did. Make amends properly. Be the man you should have been instead of pretending to be someone else. How? I don't know, but running hasn't worked. Maybe staying will. The next morning, Arnie prepared to leave. Kjell found him at the dock, loading his merchant vessel. Have you decided? Kjell asked. Arnie looked at him. I have. And I won't tell them. Not today. Relief flooded through Kjell. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. I'm giving you a chance, not absolution. You need to tell them yourself, on your own terms, before someone else discovers it. Because secrets like this always come out eventually. Better it comes from you. How long do I have? 6 months? When I return on my next trading route, if you haven't told them by then, I will. Consider it a deadline. Face your shame honestly, or I'll expose you dishonestly. Your choice. Arnie left, sailed away, left Kjell with 6 months to decide who he wanted to be. Over the next months, Kjell struggled with the decision. Part of him wanted to confess immediately, get it over with, face the consequences. But fear held him back. Fear of exile, of losing the life he'd built, of being Níðingr again. Ingrid knew she'd promised to keep his secret for now. now, but she pressured him regularly. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. Tell them. Let them decide if you're worthy of staying. What if they exile me? Then you start over. Honestly this time. But at least you'll know you tried to make it right. Bjorn noticed Kjell's distraction, asked if something was wrong. Kjell wanted to confess, couldn't find the words. Sigrid, the Jarl, noticed too, mentioned that Kjell seemed troubled, offered to help if he needed anything. Every offer of kindness made the lying harder. 5 months passed, then 5.5. Then 1 week before Arna's return deadline, everything changed. The settlement was attacked, not by Vikings, by bandits, desperate men who'd been pushed out of other territories. 20 of them, armed, dangerous. They hit at dawn. Most of the settlement's warriors were out hunting. Only a skeleton defense remained. Bjorn organized the response, called every able fighter, including Kjell. Grab a weapon. We need every man. Kjell picked up a spear, felt the familiar weight, felt the familiar fear rising. 3 years since his last battle. 3 years since he'd frozen and let Eric die. Was he still that man? Still the coward who couldn't function in combat? He'd find out in the next few minutes. The bandits hit the eastern side, trying to break through to the food stores. Bjorn's small force met them, held them, barely. Kjell stood in the line, shield raised, spear ready, heart hammering. The bandits charged, screaming, weapons raised, and Kjell felt it again. The fear, the paralysis, the terrible emptiness where courage should be. But this time something else was there too. 3 years of honest work. 3 years of trying to be better. 3 years of knowing he'd failed once and couldn't fail again. He didn't overcome the fear. The fear was still there, massive, overwhelming, but he acted anyway. Thrust his spear when a bandit came close, blocked with his shield, moved with his line, didn't freeze, didn't run, fought through the terror instead of surrendering to it. The battle lasted maybe 10 minutes, felt like hours. The bandits broke, retreated, defeated. The settlement had held, barely, but held. Bjorn clapped Kjell on the shoulder. You fought well. Didn't know you had that in you. Kjell looked at his shaking hands, at the blood on his spear, at the proof that he'd stood when it mattered. Maybe he wasn't the same man who'd earned the Raven mark. Maybe 3 years of trying to be better had actually changed him. Or maybe he'd just gotten lucky. Maybe next time he'd freeze again. But this time, he'd stood. That night, Kjell made his decision. He called for a settlement council, requested time to speak. Formal, public. The settlement gathered, curious, wondering what the quiet carpenter wanted to say. Kjell stood before them, looked at Sigrid, at Bjorn, at Ingrid, at everyone who'd shown him kindness based on lies. 3 years ago, I came here claiming to be a survivor of a ship fire, claiming my scars came from tragedy. I lied. The settlement went quiet, attentive. My real name is Kjell Torvaldsson. I'm from the Eastern Territories. 3 years ago, I was marked as Níðingr, Oathbreaker. I failed in battle, got a brother killed through cowardice. My clan tattooed me with 3 ravens, the mark of shame. He rolled up his sleeve, showed the burn scars. I burned the mark off, deliberately, put my arm in fire to destroy the evidence. Then I came here and lied about who I was, about what I'd done. I built a life here on deception, murmuring through the crowd, shock, anger, betrayal. Sigrid stood. Why are you telling us this now? Because I'm tired of lying, because you deserve to know who you've been trusting, and because this morning I fought beside you, and I need to know if that fight meant anything, if a coward who tries to be brave can ever truly change, or if the mark, even burned away, defines me forever. Bjorn stood. You fought well this morning. I saw courage, or you saw fear overcome, not the same thing. The settlement debated. Some wanted immediate exile. Others argued he'd proven himself through 3 years of honest work. Ingrid spoke. He could have kept lying, could have hidden this forever. Instead, he chose honesty. That takes more courage than most of us have shown. After hours of debate, Sigrid made the decision. You deceived us. That's serious. But you also confessed voluntarily, fought when needed, worked honestly for 3 years. Here's my judgment. You stay, but the truth stays public. No more hiding. You're Kjell Torvaldsson, marked as Níðingr, trying to redeem yourself. Everyone knows, if you can live with that honesty, you have a place here. Kjell looked at his arm, at the scars hiding the ravens, at the permanent evidence of shame. I can live with it. The mark was supposed to make me invisible, make me nothing. But maybe being nothing gives you the freedom to become something new. I'm not asking for forgiveness, just the chance to keep trying. Sigrid nodded, then keep trying. When Arna returned a week later, Kjell met him at the dock. They know, Kjell said simply. And I'm still here, working, honest, finally. Arnie smiled. Then my job is done. The mark doesn't define you, Kjell. How you carry it does. Years later, people still knew Kjell's story, the oath-breaker who burned his shame and tried to start over. Some respected him, some didn't, but everyone knew the truth. And Kjell discovered that living with honest shame was easier than hiding behind lies. The ravens were still there, beneath the scars. They always would be, but they no longer controlled his life, because the mark that condemned him also freed him. Once everyone knew, there was nothing left to hide and nothing left to fear.